converted man here. And what the hell happened? I'm an anime girl. Oh no, what can happen now? Last time, time froze. But now I'm an anime girl. Yeah, all right. Woo-wee. I can do that. I can do this. Right. Anyway, so let's just get to it, shall we? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Before something else happens, yeah. That would be bad. So let's do this already. Yeah. Let's just get to this. Yeah.
With the facts and following where the evidence leads you. The only explanation that factors in all the known historical facts is the resurrection of Jesus. That's why it seems to me, as a follower of Jesus, that a follower of Christ is historically and intellectually justified in both believing and declaring that Jesus rose from the dead, proving that he was who he claimed to be, God come to earth in flesh. Professor Thomas Arnold, scholar, author of the famous 3-volume History of Rome, once appointed to the chair of modern history at Oxford University, a man well acquainted with the value of evidence in determining historical facts, wrote this concerning the historical evidence for the resurrection of Christ. I quote him. Thousands and thousands of persons have gone through it piece by piece, as carefully as every judge summing up on a most important cause. I have myself done it many times over, not to persuade others, but to satisfy myself. I've been used for many years to study the histories of other times and to examine and weigh the evidence of those who have written about them. And I know of no one fact in the history of mankind which is proved by better and fuller evidence of every sort to the understanding of a fair inquirer
Internet, come on, man. What the bleep? All right, here we go. Okay, that's fantastic. Just fantastic. Almost done with this nonsense, and it's gonna try to freeze up on me again. No, we're finishing this week 2, so I can get to week 3 already.
God, what's more plausible? And for the resurrection of Jesus. You don't have to be 100% certain. You only need 51% certainty to say it's more plausible of the resurrection than any of the others. What?
No, that's not how things work. You have an appeal to meaningless statistics, I guess. No, you don't have to be 51%. No. You've given us no reason to think that any of this is true. Quoting some guy that happens to agree with your position, I wonder if that guy's a Christian. I don't know anything that's so well a fact. How about biological evolution? There's plenty of evidence for that. Like way more than this stuff. The amount is ridiculously low. You're talking about 3, 4-ish books written by anonymous people after the event supposedly happened, long enough that legends could have formed. In fact, I don't make a big deal of the time frame. It could have happened immediately, but that's not very much to go on. In fact, there's really not anything to go on. The book says it, and that settles it. That's pretty much all you're giving us.
What is most plausible in your mind? Discuss that around the table right now for a few moments, and then we'll open the microphones for questions.
Oh my God. Thank goodness we're done. We're done with week 2. We can move on to week 3. So no evidence for Jesus' resurrection or anything else. Zero skeptical anything in that video. Zero education, zero citation, zero, just nothing. But at least time didn't freeze this time. So let's go now to week 3. Why is there suffering in an evil? But I called my video, Why is there pleasure and good? Because I'm positing an all evil God. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let's get to this stupidity so I can yell at this now. Here we go. All right.
All right, welcome to week 3 of Skeptic. Now, just to do a quick review of what we've been talking about the first 2 weeks, our first week we were together, we asked the question, what is the evidence for the existence of God?
And you didn't have any.
We gave various evidences for God's existence.
No, you didn't.
And last week, we then asked the question, so what is the evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ? And
None.
we looked at some specific historical evidences, some historical facts that are not disputed.
The Gospels, and they are disputed.
Virtually by historians and scholars and critics
that you never name.
And we looked at how these facts need to be addressed for whatever
They're
theory you have to explain the empty tomb and so on and so forth. And we showed that the best explanation is that Jesus bodily rose from the dead.
That's ridiculous. That's not the best explanation. It's not even
died on the cross.
Blah,
he was placed in
blah,
the tomb
blah,
3 days
blah.
later. Tonight's topic. Certain that God exists, that there is a God? No. I don't think you can have 100% certainty of anything, truth be told. You can't.
Are you 100% certain of that statement?
Can't be 100% certain that you exist as an individual right now. I mean, skepticism ultimately can't be defeated at 100% certainty.
Screw it. It's not worth it. I just, whatever.
Meaning, I've heard this proposed, how do you know that you are not a brain in a vat being stimulated by a mad scientist
you
and
don't.
You just think you're here tonight?
You have no, you don't.
You don't know for 100% certainty that you're not that.
Oh, jeez.
You don't know that for sure. Now, I don't think I'm a brain in a vat being stimulated. And I think I'm reasonable to think that, yes, I actually exist and you exist as well. And until you can give me a defeater, until you can show me that it's more plausible that I'm a brain in a vat than I'm actually a being who's standing here separate from you right now, until you can give me a defeater that my belief is true, it's plausible, I'm rational to hold to my belief.
That's not really how skepticism actually works. No, the thing is, we doubt the proposition until we have evidence for it. But I, as an actual real skeptic, as opposed to this pastor who isn't a skeptic and doesn't know what skepticism is, and it's just using the word as a label for his apologetic course, which they then changed to get rid of that on YouTube, but they can't get rid of the fact that it's called Skeptic everywhere else. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, he's not a skeptic. But I don't have a starting point that you need to show me a defeater to. No, it's my job to do that. First of all, it's my job to try to disprove my own ideas, first and foremost. And if I'm not doing that, then that's a problem. He has an idea. The idea is that there's a particular type of God, in this case Yahweh, and Jesus is part of that. And this belief came about through whatever method, possibly, probably, he was raised that way and got into apologetics later in life and found that he could make some money doing that. And so he has an investment in it and a drive to do it. He's a pastor as well, so he gets some money for doing that. He's a pastor of this particular church. So they get, they make money from, the tithes and all that. Okay, so, all right, wonderful. But you're not going out of your way to disprove any of this is true. You're going out of your way to prove that it's true to yourself. So it's not up to me to defeat you or whatever the hell you're saying. It's really actually up to you. And if you were actually doing good skepticism and teaching how to be a skeptic, which you aren't, but if you actually were, then you would say, look, audience, the first thing I want you to do is to question everything you hold most dear. Question all the beliefs you have, all the ideas you have, all the things you think are fact. Ponder them. And I wouldn't go to the, well, you might be a brain in the vat. That thing, that's for later, maybe. But the thing is, that's a thought experiment and you run it once. Maybe we're in the Matrix. Maybe it's the Truman Show. Maybe we're, not really this entity. We're something else. And or a computer program or whatever. Okay, maybe we are. But we have no evidence that we are. And until we have evidence, then what we can observe seems to be real, and therefore we have an a priori belief that reality is real. Let's just stick with that until we have evidence that something else is real instead of this reality. And I strongly suspect if we found ourselves in a situation where we woke up and we found out that we'd been plugged into a computer and our body is not the body we were used to, that would just, I don't know that our brain could take it, but maybe the brain that we really have can take it. But until we're there, well, who knows what that would be like. So it's useless pondering such matters. But, well, it's interesting that you can make stories out of it. But other than that, nothing else you can do with it. But you're not actually teaching how to be a skeptic anyway, so let's get back to you not doing that.
Well, so all you need to do to have belief is a 51 versus 49%. It's 50.
No. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, all you need to do is have a belief is to not have any empirical evidence, repeatable tests, and or valid and sound argument, and then you have a belief. That's a belief is okay. I would now see that's another thing. If you were actually teaching us skeptical thought, you would start with defining what you mean by belief, because your version might be slightly different than my version, or maybe you want to pick a particular dictionary's definition or whatever. And although I don't have to say, well, that's not my version. I don't have to, but I'll grant it for the rest of the argument, knowing that you mean this whenever you say this word. Okay. What I mean by belief is just is belief without any evidence at all. So I can believe that tomorrow is going to be a good day. I don't have evidence for that, but I can believe it. I do have some evidence that Nerdy Rodent is a subscriber of mine. And I have some evidence that he actually kind of likes me in a little ways. And enjoys some of my content, right? And I don't have evidence that he really likes me, like romantically or whatever. So I have no reason to posit that. And if somebody said that, I would doubt it. That's how skepticism really actually works. So that's belief. Belief faith that's what faith is, right? So I have faith that tomorrow will be a good day. And since he didn't give us what belief is, well, we just don't know what he means by it. And that's a problem.
51% more plausible than 49%. If you have 51% plausibility, you are warranted to rationally believe something.
No. This 51%, that's completely, it's meaningless statistics. That's a logical fallacy. So what does that mean? Well, it's giving out statistics that don't mean anything. I know, it just said the same thing the same way. But so why? Well, there's no measurement that you could actually make to know how much you believe, how much facts you, well, maybe there is, but he's actually talking about how much you trust that thing. Like how, so if you think that you have 51%, then you're warranted to go ahead and believe it. No, I don't think so. Let's put that at, I don't know, 90%. Like I'll have like 90% of facts before I think it's plausible or true. Why set the bar so low if you're going to set an arbitrary bar like this? And it is completely arbitrary because you've given us no methodology to deduce what percentage we're at. That's why it's meaningless, because there's no concrete anything to this. It's just, do you think that it might be more true than false? Well, then it's probably true. It is essentially, let's reel you in slowly. Okay, come on, It's like, well, do you think that maybe I could be the reincarnation of Jesus? I don't know. It seems kind of like a far-fetched idea. Well, do you have like a 51% belief that I could be that? It's not impossible. Well, okay, maybe so. There you go. Now you're rational to believe that. And that's nonsensical. That's not skeptical thinking. That's not rational thinking. And it's just it's absurd thinking. So you need more than that to establish. Actually, what you need is not this idea in your head of some abstract percentage, but what you should have is evidence of some sort, and that will compel you to think that it's true. And if you have the facts, you don't need belief anymore because you have facts. Like I've said this way: you have faith, I don't need it because I have facts. It's that simple.
Now, I find the plausibility of God's existence to be far and away greater than the plausibility of the non-existence of God.
That's nice.
Years ago, I came to the realization that I simply could not intellectually be an atheist. I came to the realization that I don't have enough faith to be an atheist.
Oh, here we go. He did it. I can't believe he did it. He did it. He did the whole, we can't have enough faith. I can't believe it. So are you going to define what faith is? No, you're not. But I would have to ask this question. Is faith good or bad? If it's good, then you want as much as you can have. So having more faith would be good, right? If it's bad, then we want the least amount of faith as possible, which wouldn't be a Christian. It would be a skeptic, because you would want to doubt everything. That's a belief. You wouldn't want to have that. But by doing this, he pretends that the two are equivalent, that theism, Christianity, and atheism are things that you believe in. They're not. Atheism is a lack of belief, first of all. You don't need any faith at all, because that's the whole point. You don't believe in the thing. So it's cleverly done because it's a word game salad, but it's just complete non-starter and bad logic. But what's your point? You don't have enough faith to be an atheist, whatever the hell you mean by that. Okay. And what's your argument? You don't have one. By the way, I thought we were talking about evil and suffering and all that. When are we going to get to the topic at hand?
Even if I didn't want to believe in the existence of God, I couldn't deny reality. I simply have to follow where the evidence leads. So I've moved well beyond the 51 to 49% plausibility threshold. I couldn't put a number to my level of belief, but certainly well beyond 51.
If you couldn't put a number on it, then what was the point of putting a number on it? Your intellect is dizzying.
1%. If I claim that God does not exist, then I'm stuck with having to believe the following. I have to believe that out of nothing came everything. If I believe...
No, you don't. This is completely and utterly not true. Not even a little. It is not true. You don't have to believe in any proposition whatsoever to say there's no God. There is no goblin. There is no ogre. There is no dragon. There is no G-O-D. I don't need to believe anything to say that or maintain that. I don't have to believe anything. That's why I'm a skeptic. I don't believe those things. But no, I don't have to believe that the universe came from nothing. No, how about this? I will go wherever the evidence actually really does lead. That's something you keep saying that you're doing. You're not, because you don't have any evidence. But if science comes along and says, okay, guys, girls, and robots out there, we looked, we did our math, we did the thing, here's all the equations you're not going to understand unless you understand math. So I'd be like, whoa, okay. And turns out the universe came from nothing. And I'd be like, cool, neat. What do you mean by that? And you'd be like, and here's what nothing is, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, all right, cool, neat. And if they say that the universe came from, I don't know, a lobster, I'd be like, I knew it. I was right all along. Ha ha! Eat that, suckers. That's what you get for not reading The Lobsterist. I was right. And if they say it's just, whatever it is, whatever they say, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. All right, cool, fine, and neat. That's great to find out. Glad we figured that out. Theists are just going to say that God did that, but that's neat. So, in regards to how, why the universe is a thing, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have to have a belief about that in order to say there's no God. What you're doing is saying, I must establish a worldview that explains there being no God. But I don't have to do that. You believe that I have to do that. You believe that other people have to do that. But we don't. You're wrong.
That God does not exist, I have to believe that the fine-tuning of this universe is the product of random chance. I have to believe that morality is a man-made, a human-made construct.
Oh,
and
no.
we could change it tomorrow if we wanted to. If God does not exist, I have to believe that the morality at table 6 could be that it is okay to murder anybody for any reason, and the morality at table 1 is no, you can't murder anybody at any time, and they would both be right.
Appeal to consequence? You don't know that. You don't have to believe in any of that to say there's no God. If it happens to be the fact of reality that there's no God, then that's it. You don't need to say, and because of that, now I have to believe this, that, and the other thing. No, you don't. You can believe whatever the hell else you want. You can believe in the devil if you wanted to and still say there's no God. You shouldn't, because it doesn't make sense and it's illogical and you don't have any proof of it. But you could technically do that. You could assert that morals are objective without God. You could still make an argument. It's just going to take this thing that is in between your ears, Pastor, not the skull, not your hair, the thing inside of your skull that's like pink, usually. It's called the brain. You need to use it.
Morality is just something that we make up on our own.
Whatever.
I would have to believe that. if
Oh,
if I don't
no.
believe that God exists.
Oh,
If I
whatever.
don't believe that God exists, I have to believe that there's no satisfactory explanation for the historical facts surrounding the life and resurrection of Jesus.
Or you could just admit that there is no history regarding Jesus in the first place, and that those are just mythological, legendary stories that people made up. How about that? My word, this is stupid. Are you ever going to get to the point when we talk about suffering and all that shit? Or is the whole point of this to make me suffer? If so, well done.
Now, having said all of that, there is one argument against the existence of God that has made me wonder at times. There is one argument against the existence of God that has caused doubt to bubble up within me. And that argument is the argument from the existence of suffering and evil.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, I've been a pastor for almost 40 years now, full-time as a pastor. And so I've been a pastor for decades. And I also worked with the police service back in Ontario for 7 years as well. So I say all that to say, I've seen a lot of pain and a lot of suffering over the decades.
Yeah.
I've held the hand of people when they died. I have stood with parents as together we watched their child die.
That sucks.
I've seen a lot of pain. I've seen a lot of suffering.
All right.
I've been in the trenches. I get it. I understand the questions that suffering produce. And I've asked the question myself, why is there evil? Why is there suffering? God, if you exist, why? Now, I've learned that not everyone who asks such questions asks for the same reason. And I owe a debt of gratitude to Dr. William Lane Craig for this following observations I'm going to make in the next couple of moments.
No.
See, some people are asking from their mind this question. And for them, it's a matter of logic and reasoning. They want to know how an all-powerful and loving God rationally fits within a world of suffering and evil. Other people are asking from their heart. For them, it's a matter of personal pain and doubt.
You can't ask anything from the heart. It's an organ. Oh, you mean from emotion? Do you mean from emotion? Who cares why somebody is asking the question? Trying to figure out or deduce or assert somebody's reason for asking a question is outside the scope of logic, and you shouldn't attempt to do it. I know, as humans, we want to know the reason that people do things or ask things or whatever. Okay? And if you know the person, why did you ask that question? Okay, you're curious. But within skepticism that we're supposed to be using here, right? Figuring out somebody's motive, you're not going to do it. There's no way to do it. They could tell you, they could be lying though. You don't necessarily have a reason to think that they're lying, but they could be. It's irrelevant. Their reason behind the question doesn't really matter. All that matters is the argument. The argument stands or fails on its own merits, and the motive of the person asking the question has no bearing on the answer to the question. But I guess if you're saying, well, if you think that they're asking this because they've been hurt, or maybe they are in pain right now, maybe it's not a good time to do apologetics. So like if they're hurting right now and they're like, why is there so much pain? Maybe now is not a good time to start preaching God at them. Maybe now is the time to just, I love you. I care about you. I'm here for you. We'll set that God stuff to the side. I don't know. Just me, my thoughts. Oh, well, whatever. Back to the stupid thing. I hate it already.
They don't want to know how. They want to know why. They want to know why they or their loved ones are suffering or have suffered. They want to know where God is or where God was in the midst of their pain. But here's the thing. If you answer the person who's asking from their mind as though it was coming from their heart, they'll think you're being unreasonable. They'll think that you're avoiding the intellectually hard truth of the matter, and to them you'll come across as gushy and weak.
So, are you saying that your answer is going to change depending on if you know the person's motive? That's just stupid. Then your answer is completely incoherent. Then, okay. The way that you treat somebody, if that's what you're talking about, like if you're talking about how you treat somebody, like if you think that they're asking a question because they're upset or they dealt whatever, the way that you treat them, if that's what you're talking about, then you modify your behavior. But the answer shouldn't be different, should it? The answer is going to be the answer. The answer is not going to change. Whatever the answer really is, let's listen to what he has to say. It's going to be stupid, but whatever.
But on the other hand, if you answer the person who's asking from their heart as though it's coming from their mind, as though it was merely an intellectual or logical question, they think you come across as emotionally cold, calculated, and uncaring. To them, you come across as heartless and insensitive.
Oh, well.
So this evening, in the limited 3 hours that we have to discuss this, just seeing if you're listening, I'm going to do my best to briefly address both sides, the logical and the emotional. And what I fail to address in my prepared talk, feel free to bring up in the public question and answer portion later in the evening. I look forward to that. That's probably my favorite time of the night. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, as your outline says, let's begin by addressing the mind. It's the first blank in your outline. Let's begin.
The outline. It's been so long since I've done this, I forgot he has a stupid outline to follow. I wonder if it's any different than last time or if it's the same one from last time. I'm not going to click on it to find out. I don't care. It's just filling in the blank. There's no thought or critical thoughts going on here. Fill in the blank. Now,
by addressing the mind.
Okay.
I invite you to think about something with me. I would propose to you that you can have the truth without having a lie, but you cannot have a lie without first having the truth. You can have the truth without having a lie, but you can't have a lie without first having the truth. Why is this? Because a lie is a rejection of the truth. A lie is a twisting or a perverting of the truth.
What? No, it's not. No. A lie is something that you do. You know X is true, but you're saying X is false. So this analogy, I already know where you're going with the analogy. So you're going to say that good can't exist without evil? Is that what you're going to say? I mean, sounds like it. I don't know. Let's find out.
A lie takes the truth and corrupts it. So you can't have a lie without first having the truth.
I don't know about that.
It's like rust. You don't just have rust show up out of nowhere. Rust is a corruption of metal.
Well,
you can have metal without rust, but you can't have rust without first having metal. You can have the truth without a lie, but you can't have a lie without first having truth. With that in mind, now think about
Here
this.
we go.
You can have good without evil, but you can't have evil without first having good. Why? Because evil is a corruption or a rejection of the good.
I knew you were going somewhere with this broken analogy. I just didn't know where. This is bad. I mean, I guess if this is what your definition of evil is, fine. I'd rather it be framed as a tautology anyways. Good and evil are polar opposites. Maybe you can't have one without the other. Or you can have good on its own, but you can't have evil on its own. Well, why not? See, I'm positing an all-evil God. That's my posit. And yes, in this, you can have just evil without good, because God is all evil. Now you might ask, well, why is there pleasure in good then if God's all evil? Well, God has to allow for the good. Good is a corruption of evil. Good is a twisting of evil. Good is a privation of evil. Good must be allowed so that more evil can manifest. Same argument, just flipped on its head, reductio ad absurdum. The all evil God explained why there's good, why there's pleasure, because it has to have it. Well, your all good, all powerful God doesn't need evil, apparently. Doesn't need suffering, apparently. If good can exist without it, then why do you have it then?
Just like a lie is a twisting or perverting of the truth, evil is a twisting or a perverting of that which is good. Just like rust is a corruption of metal, evil is a corruption of what is good. You say, Darren, why does this matter? This matters because it holds an answer to the so-called problem of suffering and evil. Why is there suffering and evil? As your outline says, evil is sourced in mankind's ability to choose.
Okay. Why? Why is that the source of that? Why is it mankind? Why does it have anything to do with us humans? There's other creatures here on this planet. Why are they suffering? They didn't do anything. Why do they experience pain? You know, I've seen videos where like a deer gets caught in barbed wire fence, and if it wasn't for the good of people, it would have stayed there and died from dehydration or gotten eaten by something, or maybe a combination thereof. Why? Why is that a thing? Because humans have choice? Okay, then don't have a world where humans have choice then. Problem solved. If having a choice means that there's going to be evil, then just don't have choices then. Seems like a simple enough solution, but then you have to ask, well, wait a minute. Why is it that having a choice allows for things to become bad? Here comes the theology bit. Because if you don't do what God told you to do, that's bad. But why is it bad? Why would it be bad to not do something that you're told to do? Shouldn't you use the mind that you have to deduce what to do or not to do independently of somebody just telling you what to do? And besides, why is it that this is the system that's set up? God set up that system, supposedly, so it's still God's fault that there's this choice that man made and that screwed everything up. Then that's still God's fault. So it's God's fault that there is evil. And what's interesting is, in the Bible, it says God made evil. I wonder if he's ever going to quote that verse. Probably not.
Evil is sourced in mankind's ability to choose. Evil and all the suffering that comes with it is sourced in our ability to choose. Evil is what is produced when we freely reject what is good. Evil is what results when we choose to turn our backs on God's goodness.
And why would you ever do that? If God is so good, and you can tell that God is so good, then what reason would there be to ever turn your back on it? If you're made as kind of like a blank slate where it's just you exist, here's God before you, you see it in all its glory and it's amazing, why would you ever turn away from that? Why wouldn't you just sit down and gaze in amazement at this thing? Why would you ever want to do anything else if it's so amazing and so good? Unless you had some bit of you in your nature or whatever that, well, I can reject this, but why would I have that bit of me that wants to? Unless God put it there. It doesn't make sense.
As your outline says, when we reject God's goodness and purity and truth, we create evil. God didn't create evil.
Oh, come on. Now I have to pull up the Bible verse. Guess so. Let's see. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Isaiah 45:7. Oops. Just, pastor don't know the Bible, I guess. Whatever.
When we reject God's goodness and purity and truth, we then create evil. And the more choices we make to reject the good, the more evil and suffering we unleash on our world.
Why? How? How does that mechanically function? And why would it be the case that God couldn't just go poof to that evil? Let you see it and say, okay, look, the moment you turn around and you say no to me, this is what happens. Oh man, that's pretty bad. Now it's gone. Okay? So don't turn away from me or that's going to happen. And I'm not going to poof it out of existence this time. All right? Why not do that? Because God's dumb? But okay, evil, and by evil, I guess you mean just bad stuff, doing things that, but it's all about authority. You reject what God wants you to do, that makes things really bad. The more you say no to God, the more worse it gets. But I don't see any evidence of that, nor do I see evidence that saying yes to God gets rid of evil, which should be the case. Is it just that too many other people are saying no to God all the time? Well, if God was more clear and coherent with what it wanted us to do, maybe that wouldn't be such a problem. But I guess that's God's fault for making an incoherent religion like this and only giving it to a limited group of people rather than the entire world at the same time. God is stupid, I guess. Anyways, why is there suffering? Let's get to that. No? Okay.
Years ago, there was a television interview with a famous Hollywood actress whose lover had drowned in a harbor near Los Angeles.
I don't care.
The police investigated, and they revealed that what was happening was they were having a wild party at sea on a yacht, and the man in a drunken stupor rolled off the yacht, and he drowned.
Get to the point.
And the actress looked into the camera, her face contorted with grief, and she said, "How could a loving God let this happen?"
Yeah, that's...
The famous cowboy philosopher John Wayne put it best when he said, "Life is tough, but it's even tougher when you're stupid."
What? Huh?
God gives us freedom to choose.
What did one thing have to do with another? How? What? Huh? The quote from John Wayne had nothing to do with the story that you just told. What the hell are you on? What is this? What's real anymore? What's going on? Why? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all, not even a little bit. Why did that person fall off the ship and die? That's what she's asking. She's coming from an emotional place. And you're saying, well, John Wayne said life is tough and harder when you're stupid, or whatever the hell he said about, and so you're saying that she's stupid? Is that what you're saying? Like, how is it because somebody did something against God? That's why he fell off the ship? How did what?
We make choices, and our choices have consequences.
Well, duh.
Someone is out there, and you're in your mind, and you're objecting, and you're out there, and you're thinking to yourself, hold on, Darren, why couldn't God create a world where we can only choose what is good?
Good question.
He's all powerful. Why couldn't he create a world where it is impossible to make wrong choices, where it is impossible to choose what is evil?
Mm-hmm.
It's a fair question. Let me try something here.
Oh, no. Not another analogy.
Let's give this young man a
No,
hand.
why? No,
Ben, way to
what
go.
is this?
Ben, I have fruit in this bag, and I want to give you, because I am all about choice, I want to give you a choice. You can choose from one of these three. You can have this orange, or you can have this orange, or you can have this orange. Do you choose the orange, or the orange? The orange? Good choice. I'm going to let you have all three of them. Go take a seat. Don't eat those. They're bad. Okay. Did I actually offer Ben a choice? A forced choice isn't really a choice, is it? Someone else, you're out there and you're thinking, well, what makes choice so important in the first place? Why does God have to give us the ability to choose? Now, let me say this. If we didn't have the ability to choose our own path, these same people would be complaining by saying, if God's so powerful, then why can't he let us make our own decisions? What's God afraid of?
My friends, my brain just can't with that. Orange, orange, orange. Just give me a moment here. I need to contemplate my decisions in life. Orange, orange, orange. Orange, orange, fucking orange. Orange, orange. That... Don't eat them. And then you gave them bad oranges? Why would you give them bad oranges? Why would... That's... Oh. Mm-hmm. I... This... Oh... Okay. I'm done for today. I know. Usually I go an hour, but that broke me. My mind is broken now. Orange. Orange. That's not... It, technically, it is a choice, but also, like, you have three different good things to choose from. Like, and you offered him bad oranges. You said they were bad, don't eat them. So you didn't actually offer him good oranges, but you go like a banana, an orange, an apple. What do you want to eat? I'll eat the whatever. That's an actual choice. They're all good choices, you know. But then